What's up, guys? It's the weekend, so naturally we are back at the shop. First things first, we're gonna take baby girl right back there. I'm not sure you can see. And we're gonna pull her out of this hole that she's in and bring her into the other bay so that we can do some final touches and hopefully get her started today. So potential to be a huge day. We'll see how it goes. Was he welded this piece in for us, and then what's this last one for?
Cold start.
Cold start. So now this needs to go right in here, and so we're just trying to put those pieces together because the last time that we measured this, the radiator wasn't in. There was just a bunch of stuff that didn't necessarily make it as tight as it is. So that's what we're gonna do now, and from there we'll figure out what's next. We have some wiring to do, stuff like that. So gonna be a big day, but should be good.
So we're looking at this now and hoping that we can make it work, but somewhat of a concern. This down here is a little bit too, this might be down a little bit too low. I don't know if that's my fault, maybe, probably, I have no idea. And this one right here for the cold start might also be not in a great position. So we're gonna try to mock this thing up and make it work. Hopefully we can. I think there might be some room to put it down below this hole, basically below the body, and run it. And if we have to change it later on, we can change it later on. It's not gonna stop us from starting the car either way, but it'd be nice to kind of have everything hooked up and ready to go so that when we do start it, there's nothing weird going on. That's good.
I think.
Need to go in more?
I think so, right? Because
I thought you need to come out.
right there.
What does that look like though? Is that still gonna seal?
That's good.
Is it gonna seal though?
I think so. Oh, this is so tight. This guy. I am literally so brain dead today. For those of you that don't know, I'm a marathoner. I'm training for a marathon. It's 4 weeks away, and yesterday I ran 19 miles after work. So I literally, my brain does not function the next day. It's like my body is ultimately exhausted. So I'm doing my best here, but as a result of that, I cannot find the words. So Alex, the temperature.
Air intake temp sensor.
Intake temp sensor, and what's this one?
Cold start.
And the cold start are gonna go down beneath this, and they're gonna come into the engine bay here, and then the blow-off valve will sit right up here. So everything is gonna work out. Thankfully, it was a little bit sketchy there trying to fit everything together, but Alex, what are you doing now?
Like a half-ass way. Not super proud of it, but we're just getting this intercooler piping in, get the car running, and if we decide we want to do custom fab intercooler piping down the road, we can do that, but for now, this is how we're doing it. So basically what I'm doing, and I'll straighten these out, but creating a lip so that the pipe doesn't pop off. It's like a $6 Harbor Freight tool. Chop the top off of it, and it makes a pretty good like homemade crimper for temporary piping or whatever you're doing. So that is what I just did.
Cameras like did not focus on that tool at all. Bum, you want to say hi?
All right, so amazingly, we found a way to make this work. The intake air temp sensor is gonna be a little bit lower than I'd like it to be. Usually it's supposed to be just before the throttle. It's supposed to be like in this region, so it's gonna be a little bit further down there, but realistically, that's kind of what we have to deal with. It's just to an issue. You know, like I said, this intercooler piping is working for this current situation, but if it comes down to it and the intercooler piping just doesn't work, it's just too shitty, we'll just get a custom kit done. But frankly, there's no time for that to be done to get this car running, and it would be expensive, and this thing's already way over budget, fully forged, Haltech ECU, Haltech expanders, all this different shit. So this intercooler piping should do, and I think it'll work. All right, so here's a quick update on everything that we've done so far. We had to take this ground right here and we moved it. I'm an idiot, I had it on the alternator, so I'm sure that that was not working at all. And then we have the battery hooked up. I've kind of given up on the power tune at the moment. We'll fix that later and get that running. The goal right now is get the sensors working from the Haltech. Some of them are wonky, some of them are reading like at the highest possible value, so there's got to be something up with my wiring that's something shorting out. But once we get all of that wired up, and we're just going to redo it all and do it right. So we have these sleeves now. There's a box of here, sleeves, and those basically you take the torch and you heat it up, and then you have no chance of wires shorting on each other. So Alexis right now is working on taking all of those out.
Here.
And we are then going to repin everything. So it should be a blast, but we don't know how else to do it without pulling our hair out. So we're gonna start over. So we finally figured out what was wrong with all of our sensors and our power tune dash. It's now up and running, as you can see. So the issue with the sensors was, I'm just an idiot, we didn't have the pins in front, back and forth with Haltech, and that's what it ultimately came down to. So what I ended up doing was getting the correct type of, like, they call it like an E-clamp tool or whatever. So I use that to do these wires much better than they were before. There's no wires potentially touching each other and having an issue. So that is all set. And now the other thing that was an issue with the dash was just this one setting right here. So Haltech defaults to legacy. It wasn't on version 2. So that's why the dash just wasn't pulling any of that data.
Okay, moment of truth. 2 years in the making, and I think we're finally ready to try and start her up. So we're gonna put some oil in to start.
Okay, so we don't know. The gauge is saying that we have like 1 pound of fuel pressure. Okay.
Nothing.
Nothing.
What do we got?
I think I have the lines reversed down there.
Anything?
Do it again, just leave it on. Oh, stop.
What's that?
Okay.
All right, so quick update. The last sensor that we couldn't get, wow, the lighting's actually pretty good, that we couldn't get to work was the fuel pressure. Turns out Alex hooked the lines up backward. We had fuel pressure and it was spewing everywhere. I think the O-rings were not hooked up correctly. So anyways, out of every single part of the fuel rail, we had spewing. So we are going to attempt to turn this thing over and see what the deal is. So we unplugged the injectors to be safe. Also, fuel pump is unplugged.
and I unplugged the cam angle sensor, so there's no possible way it would be able to fire. Did I turn that on?
Okay, good news. We have oil pressure. It was a bit scary for a moment there, but we phoned a couple of friends to make sure that we were doing everything correctly. Unfortunately, I was feeling so discouraged that I didn't get on camera the celebration that took place when we finally got the oil pressure. But anyways, big win on that front. Now what?
I don't really know. It's pretty much started. Theoretically.
I'm really scared.